This is Branding RX, your prescription for health and wellness branding. I'm your host, Alice Petty, and today our topic is telling the right story in your marketing.
I have Brian Kurian with me today, and we are going to talk about the joys and excitement of PR, copywriting, and just anything else that comes up in our topic. So, Brian, welcome so much to the podcast.
Oh, thanks for having me, Alice. Yeah, I know we had a great conversation last week when we first met. So excited to be here and excited to pick up where we left off and offer some value to your audience and your members.
Well, I am so excited to have you here. As you know, my audience is health and wellness practice owners.
Mm-hmm.
So, since we are dealing with them, I know you have a plethora of information that you can share with us about ways that they can help grow their practices. Because I know you deal with copywriting because you are a wonderful copywriter.
Thank you.
And I know you've done PR for quite a few years. And I know you're an excellent salesperson. So these are all things that would be wonderful to share, just a tidbit of how you do all of that.
Yeah, I think that the biggest thing that I always focus on for my clients is ensuring that they're telling the right story. And what I mean by that is often business owners fall into the trap of thinking that it's all about their services that they offer or their products and the price points of those products and services, when nothing could be further from the truth, truly. If if you have, for example, 10 different massage therapy clinics all in the same vicinity, within a 10-mile radius, and you have 50 people, living in that community that are looking for their next massage therapist or have hurt themselves and are trying to get better and have, specific needs, how do you decide who to go to, right? The prices might be similar, the services might be similar. Besides the different names of what those clinics are called, I mean, how can you possibly decide? So it's about the story. It's about the people that work there. It's about why they do what they do, how they serve their clients, the value that they offer. It's about their mission, right? And that's a big part of the brand strategy. It's a big part of the storytelling. It's a big part of, writing messaging and putting out thoughtful content that resonates with your ideal client and makes them want to choose you over everybody else in your field, in your community and online. And it's a big part of why people are going to want to stay with you, and you're going to increase your lifetime value for each customer and organically grow your book of business. I know there's a lot there to unpack, but at a high level, that's what I teach my clients, is understanding that framework, and then we can reverse engineer it backwards from there.
And differentiation is hugely important when it comes to branding.
Absolutely.
So I'm right there with you. Because if you're not able to express how you're different in a way that connects with your target audience, then they're going to have no reason to, walk through that door.
Yeah, and I think, and you know this as well as I do, I think when you are competing on price alone, you will involve yourself very quickly in a very fast race to the bottom, because everybody, including you, is going to keep undercutting the price until you get to the point where you're barely making any money for all the hard work and value that you're providing to your customers, or you're going to be losing money.
That is so funny, because I had the exact same quote pop into my head.
It's a race to the bottom. Yeah, and I mean, look, when you're the one that's owning the business, I don't know about you, but I personally would not feel very good or very empowered, knowing that apparently I'm very good at what I do, and I keep telling myself that I'm very good at what I do, but every month I'm just barely scraping by. And I find myself having to work harder and harder and longer hours, serving more and more customers, and yet I'm not actually getting financially ahead. That would not make me feel very good about being as good at what I do as I say I am, and all the money I've spent, my education and my training and these employees and, the hard work that I'm putting in, but you don't really have the results to show for it. Doesn't make sense to operate that way. And yet so many people do.
Well, you bring up a very good point, and one that in health and wellness that it's not totally in their control because it depends on whether or not they accept insurance. So there is some
Sure.
limitations on them, given if they're a participating provider, they do have limitations on what they're allowed, well, what the insurance companies will pay them.
Sure.
Their cash pay patients pay whatever they charge, but there are limitations because your HMOs and your PPOs and all that do negotiate them down, and a lot of times they negotiate them down to painful.
I
Um,
get that. I get that. Yeah.
so that's why the reason we're starting to see the development of those two different types of practices. You
Hmm.
have the standard practices that take the health insurance companies whatever they pay, and then you have the practices that are doing the VIPs at the concierge,
More of
which
like a boutique setup. Yeah. Boutique clinic. Yeah.
right.
Hmm.
So you know the trick is, how can we find a way that more people can be served but still get kind of the same quality that the concierge services give, while allowing the practices to actually charge enough to survive.
Yeah. I get that. It's a fine line to walk, right? Because how often have we found ourselves going to a chiropractic clinic, or I'll use a massage therapy clinic again as an example, or a dentist office, or you know, go in your local urgent care. Really different examples here, but you feel like you're coming down the assembly line. You come in and people are just rushed in. Okay, here's your 15-minute assessment. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, we're gonna quickly diagnose you. Okay, we think here's what's wrong. Here's your prescription that I'm gonna fill out for you. Go to your local Walgreens. Go get your medicine. Have a great day. Next person. Same thing. Rinse and repeat. Next person. Next person. Next person. Every time slot is packed, and every single person is being offered very cookie cutter service. In my opinion, very thoughtless service, very robotic service.
and
Um,
and I don't blame it on the doctors, because
I don't. Yeah.
a lot of them are very much frustrated with the fact that they are told they've got between 8 and 15 minutes to see a patient.
For the console. Yeah. 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 Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because they
But
got to bill for the next one. Yeah.
yes, and that is absolutely just, you know, it's one of those questions that I'm looking at with what I do, is trying to figure out how we can solve this. Because
Mm-hmm.
obviously the reason that a medical practice takes health insurance is because, well, it's a guaranteed patient base. People are going to show up, people are going to
Sure.
use their services
Sure.
because they're in their group. Um, and let's be honest, when you're not in a health insurance of some kind, generally the prices are so high that you just tend to avoid going,
Of course. Yeah. Of course.
which only makes problems worse.
Yeah.
So, I'm trying to find the way that we can find a solution so that the doctors are able to actually make enough money that they
Mm-hmm.
don't have to worry about keeping their lights on, but yet
Mm-hmm.
that they can do it in such a manner that they can service the community the way that they need to be serviced, and reduce some of their stress about keeping those lights on, and their
Sure.
employees paid and everything else.
So I think the biggest thing here is, again, this is literally what I hear from a lot of the clients I work with. It all boils down to organic lead generation, which you will have a much more effective time being able to accomplish if you're telling the right online story, if you're telling the right story about your business, right? You will be able to attract more of the people that uh, have the health insurance parameters or the qualifications, so you can actually see them. When you are able to cast a more effective net, so to speak, you're going
Mhm.
to catch more of the right fish, potentially some of the right whales, if I'm using sales terminology. When you get those people, then you and your team can shine at what you do best, which is taking care of them, right? Helping them solve their health issue or their, whatever is going on with them, dental issue, back issue, neck issue, whatever. And you can focus on more, organic account expansion methods to make sure these people keep coming back to you since you took such great care of them. And then all of a sudden, you'll have more business than you can handle, right? So you can hire more team members. The revenue's coming in, the recurring revenue's coming in on a monthly basis because your book of business is so healthy and stable and flourishing. And you can start also being a little bit more selective in the best way possible, where you say, look, I no longer want to just see people for 15-minute consults anymore, or 30-minute consults where I have to get them in and out. We can be a lot more thoughtful with how we treat our patients. We can give them more of our time. Now, that means we're going to start taking less and less, a little bit less patients each day, but we're going to have a much healthier book of business for the rest of the year because we have the right people coming in. And by God, we're going to take amazing care of them. And we're not going to make them feel like they're just coming into our assembly line from the front door into the waiting room, into the medical examination room, back out, into the waiting room to pay us, give us their credit card, and then be rushed out the front door saying, have a nice day. Thanks for stopping by. And they go in their car wondering what even happened.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, so a lot of it really, truly, Alice, boils down to got to tell the right story, got to attract the right people. We need to, stabilize our book of business so we can take better care of them because we're going to be healthier financially, because this is a business, right? So we got to make sure they're making money. And then from there, people have to be put on a waiting list or maybe wait just a little bit longer so they can get that same level of premium care. I think most people would be okay with it as long as the health issue isn't, a dire type
Right.
of
Well,
thing.
and if it's an urgent care issue, then you really should just go to your urgent care.
Correct. Yeah. Don't put something off. Sure.
But so what I'm hearing is that they actually need like two fronts. They have the one front which right now that they would still continue with, like their insurance patients, but they could start having a specialized area as well. So that way, you could have like a primary care office that starts to specialize in a specific age bracket.
Bingo.
Yeah, so they could specialize in senior health.
Bingo. I learned a while ago that the the riches are in the niches, right?
Mhm.
When you niche down and you say, hey, we're not trying to treat everybody under the sun, because when we become that type of, we're going to service everybody, you end up actually not being overly effective at servicing anyone because you're trying to do everything. But when you can start trimming that down and working with specific groups of people, whether it's a specific demographic or specific pain point or challenge, well, you start getting your reps in and you start realizing, okay, this is exactly how I can take the best care of this type of problem or how I can solve this challenge the fastest because I've done it 1,000 times before. Now I'm an expert at this, right? Because I didn't just do it 10 times, I've done it 1,000 now. And I've gotten all these client testimonials that literally showcase how good I am at treating this one thing for this one person. And I think a lot of times people miss the boat on that. I think business owners miss the boat on that, especially in the health and wellness sector, because again, they want to cast that broad net because I think that's what's going to make them the most money. And when, unfortunately, again, when you do that, you start looking like every other dentist office or every other chiropractor in your community or massage therapy place or what have you, insert name of your business here. Don't stand out. You're trying to do the same stuff that everybody else is doing. And then you kind of back yourself into a corner where now you're forced to compete on price because no one is really seeing the true value of what you're doing because you're doing the same stuff everybody else is doing. But for example, if you're the chiropractor, I read this phenomenal example in a book the other day, .com Secrets by Russell Brunson, classic for us copywriters. But he mentioned an example of a chiropractor that he used to work, his chiropractor that he used to work with way back in the day. Russell was suffering from, I believe he was suffering from like some neck issues from his wrestling career. He was a high school and college wrestler. Apparently he was really good at it too. He was in a D1 school in Boise State. And the chiropractor mentioned that he was struggling to make money. he was doing these consultations and these quick adjustments and realignments, basic stuff. But Russell showed him how to build a value ladder because he learned the chiropractor literally was trained on how to improve people's health holistically through diet, exercise, like proper nutrition. And he invoked his chiropractic methods to help kind of enhance those healings from like fibromyalgia, chronic pain, other like very serious things that a lot of people have to deal with. But he wasn't branding himself as someone that actually knew how to do those things. So he was getting viewed as every other chiropractor, just your chiropractor down the street that can help you get an adjustment. That's not special. And so that's what I mean. So then he rebranded himself as, hey, if you're suffering from these types of chronic pain or fibromyalgia or XYZ, I'm trained on how to help you relieve those in a natural way, no medication needed. I'll show you different chiropractic adjustments that I can do, nutrition things that I can, I can write up a new diet plan for you, show you some different stretches and things that'll help you alleviate your pain holistically. And then before you know it, he started doing just fine as far as making revenue because he became specialized.
Mm-hmm.
So he can charge accordingly for that. That's the point.
Yeah. And, I think the specializations don't always just have to be in necessarily the service. It's also how you treat people. It's how the experience goes.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I think one of my clients mentioned this the other day. She said, Brian, your services, I mean, the way you treat me is kind of like I walk into a 5-star restaurant, 5-star hotel, what have you, and it's like the white glove treatment here. That's probably one of the nicest compliments, someone can pay me as far as, my business goes. But it's true. I'm very hands-on. Everything I do is all about the client, meeting them where they're at. I like to think I give them a ton of respect, a ton of autonomy. There is some tough love sometimes because if you're not really listening to me or complaining about the lack of results you're getting because you're not following my strategies or you're not willing to step out of your comfort zone, like I don't just sit back and say, oh, that's fine. We'll just get to it when we get to it. There is a high level of accountability here.
Yes.
But it's very much like, I'm all about my people. I want them to do really well. And so, when you work with me, when you onboard with us, you get me. You're going to get treated probably a lot better than a lot of other coaches and mentors have treated you. I'm very confident in saying that because I know what lengths I'm willing to go to serve people and to make sure they're happy and they're getting the results that they want. I know what I'm willing to do, and I know the skill sets I possess. I know what I've done over my career. So I possess a authentic level of confidence because I had to do it before, not just for other people, but for myself. I do it every day in my business.
Right.
All the things that I train my clients on and teach them, it's literally the things that I do every single day in my business. Otherwise, I wouldn't have a business.
Right.
So yeah, it's the white glove treatment.
Well, see, that's what I try and express with my clients is the fact that, your differentiation doesn't have to be, something that's shooting for the stars. It can be something, relatively simple, but it's the fact that it's you.
Yep.
You are different from everybody else on the planet because you're you, the way that you deal with your patients, the way that you interact, the way that your staff interacts, the way that you set up set up everything, how, the experience that they have. And, I really encourage them to go through the process of doing, strategizing their experience. Because if you actually take it step by step from when somebody walks in your door and you actually script their experience, it makes a big difference. You're not leaving things to chance.
Yeah, my services marketing professor was one of my favorite college professors, who I still keep in touch with to this day after all these years. He was very, very big on making people feel special. And I know it's cheesy. We hear it all the time. Oh, everyone's special. Everyone's unique, and everyone deserves to be treated with love and respect and kindness. Sure, that's all true. But he lived that every single day. That's the difference. He had, I'm sure, hundreds of students at the same time of when I was in his class. I was just one of those hundreds of students. And my God, If he didn't know the name of every single person in that class, it was uh, it was incredible to watch. Just the way you'd be that phenomenal maestro on stage, and taking the energy, that he had and circulating it through the room and invoking thoughtful dialogue, healthy confrontations, healthy conversations, back and forth, playful things that he would do to encourage us all to feel comfortable raising our hand and asking questions, joining in on the lecture, offering some of his personal experiences and tying that into the lecture, then asking us for one of our personal experiences that would maybe help the main point of the lecture really sink in so that we could see why it's so important. And I
Okay.
like and I'd like to think that I do that for my clients too. It's all
Engage.
about engagement. I'm
Mhm.
a person, you're a person. We're two people trying to help each other, right? I depend on them just as much as they depend on me, because if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have anyone to help. I wouldn't be able to shine. I wouldn't be able to teach anyone anything. I wouldn't be learning new things because they teach me new things all the time too, which I told you earlier with my clients that I'm helping, revise their training manual. I'm learning a ton about the construction, the roof, building materials industry. I never worked in this industry before, right? I don't have much experience with construction and building materials. Now I've learned a ton thanks to them because I'm helping them with their training manual. And I'm very much in the nitty gritty details, in the trenches, helping them with this. So getting paid to learn too, thanks to them. So yeah, it's special. You have to, and the experience, Alice, it's my belief, maybe I'm wrong, but it's my belief that from the moment your patient or customer pulls into your parking lot, that experience has begun. They're not even
Uh,
in your building yet.
I believe it's even before the
Oh,
moment
sure.
moment
When
that
they're
they pick up
online
the
researching,
phone.
mhm,
Yeah.
pick up the phone. Yep. When they pick up the phone, when they get an email from you or go on your website. No, you're absolutely right. I think it's even more enhanced. I should have corrected. I think it's even more enhanced when they pull into your parking lot, because now there's this. My professor was also very big on expectations
Yes.
and proper framing of the expectations that you have of the client or the business that you're going to and frequenting, and vice versa. What are that company or that business or that product's expectations of you? Because you both have expectations and you don't want to disappoint anybody. You want to actually do your best to exceed those expectations, but you need to know what the expectations are in the first place and kind of you know anchor in those expectations, so you never forget what are you trying to perform against, right?
Yeah.
What is the target? What is the baseline? And so when they pull into your parking lot, they probably have an expectation of how they'd like to be treated.
No,
Or
yes. Well, they have looked at your stuff online in all likelihood, um,
mm,
which means that they have a feeling of what they're walking into.
sure.
And if they walk into something that is totally different,
Hmm.
they're going to be uncomfortable. They're going to be disturbed.
Right.
Um, it's either going to be for the good or the bad, but
Exactly. I was
and I
gonna
would
say, yeah.
I'd much rather that they were disturbed and go, oh, am I in the right place? Oh, yes, you are. And it's so much better than you expected because we've had this, renovation, instead of the other way of, oh, yeah, maybe I should leave because this is
Y-
not what I thought I was coming to.
Yeah, and you hope that every single person that walks in, through your doors is blown away by how, not necessarily how beautiful your office is, because look, not
Oh,
everyone's going to be able to
welcoming.
afford it, right? Not everyone's going to be able to afford a beautiful office, but my God, how nice everybody was to me.
Yes.
They remembered, they knew me by name. They remembered me from the last time I was here 6
They
months
were
ago.
friendly,
They were friendly. They were
you know.
genuinely nice to me, smiled at me.
Yes, and it
Um,
wasn't a fake smile, it was a
right.
real honest
Yeah.
smile, and,
Yeah.
they asked how I was, and they actually were interested in
Right. It
how.
wasn't just like, "Oh, how's your day going? Oh, great. How about you?" "Oh,
Yeah,
good. Been busy. What can you do?" "Okay, well, the doctor will see you in 5 minutes." The same scripted
Yeah.
regimented small talk that so many of us are forced to engage in, but genuine, healthy, candid conversation. Yes, they made eye contact with me. Everybody knew me by name. Everybody smiled at me. Everybody kind of stopped what they were doing for a second. Just
Oh,
acknowledge me, which was
perfect.
so cool.
So
Yeah,
nice for you to be here.
yeah.
And oh, oh, okay. And it does, that takes you aback because we're not used to people
We're not used to
actually.
that. Yeah, we're not used to that. My old dentist office, I'll use them as a perfect example because they were terrific at this back in Wilmington. Those girls knew me by name. Even if it was a new girl that only saw me from like my last cleaning 6 months ago. Oh, hey Brian, thanks for coming back and seeing us. How you doing? How's your son? The missus okay? Is she still at the XYZ school? They remember the school, remember where I used to work at. Are you still over there? Different place? And like we chit chat for a few minutes. My God, I felt like I was a king. Just couple of things, man, here and
But
there.
you know that it's all in your chart and they are reading that before you walk in. But it
And
doesn't
that's
matter.
okay. And
But it
that's
doesn't
okay.
matter because of
Yeah.
the simple truth is whether they just had a crib sheet that they read before you came in the door,
Hmm.
doesn't matter because they knew information about you when you walked in and it
Hmm.
made you feel special.
Hmm.
It made you feel important.
Hmm.
And it gave you a sense of, I am wanted here.
Yeah, I'm welcome here.
Mhm.
This is a place where I am wanted. I feel good being here. The people genuinely like having me around here. Um, yes, I need to pay when the services are provided. Of course, it's a business relationship. They're not like my friends, but they acknowledge me. It's not just, oh, hey, what are you here for? Oh, my routine cleaning. Okay, cool. Well, just go in that room. Yeah, we'll do your cleaning. Great, great. When you're done, we'll look at your insurance. Oh, looks like this one's $50. Okay, cool. You got your credit card? Great. All right, yeah, we'll see you another 6 months. Here, we'll put you on the calendar. Have a great day. Get out. Next person. It's
There's a difference.
there is a
There's
difference.
a difference.
Yeah, it's just a cleaning, or it's to have a cavity taken care of, or I need my X-rays done. Right? It's the same stuff every other dental office can do for me, but
Yes,
I like this one.
but this one knows you.
Yeah,
This
these
one
people
cares,
know me.
and this one cares about you.
Yeah, and they're nice to me.
Mhm.
All of them are. Every interaction was positive there.
Yes.
If I still lived in that area, if we hadn't moved, I'd still be going to that place. Their hours were solid. I could go after work. That was the initial first reason why, or the initial reason why I chose them was because they had later hours than some of the other dentist offices. So I wouldn't have to take time off work. I could just go
Right.
right after work if I needed to. And they were open for a few hours on Saturdays, unlike a lot of the other dental offices, which was great. I could go at like 8 in the morning and knock my cleaning out or whatever, and then have the rest of the day to myself, to spend with my family or whatnot. So yeah, anywho, that's further proof I hope of it really does matter how you treat people.
Mhm.
Don't don't make them feel like don't make them feel like you're only dealing with them or being involved in their life because they are paying you.
Yes.
I'm really big on that. Tell all my clients that. I think even clients that I used to work with 2, 3, 4 years going beyond, still check in on them. I still ask how they're doing. I still still very much care about them. I always will. Once you're in my life, at any point, you'll always be in my life. Unless you don't want me to be in your life anymore, then just tell me, and I'll piss off. but usually people are happy that I'm in their life. So yeah, I ask them how their business is doing. I check on their social media posts. I leave comments for them. I still send them referrals. Um, I check in on, with their kids and their spouses and moms and dads, all that stuff because like we're friends now. That's kind of what friends do, right? You haven't paid me in 2 years because we haven't worked together in 2 years, but that doesn't
Doesn't
mean,
matter.
yeah, that doesn't mean I just discard you because I no longer have a use for you because you're not putting money into my bank account. I think that's a little ridiculous. And yet, so many of us can relate to being treated that way because we have been treated by that or treated that way by others time and time again. So, as ridiculous as I think it sounds to treat people like that, I
Well,
have been treated like that.
that's because you innately, and just by who you are, have an excellent um, nurture program. Whereas
Yeah.
a lot of companies, a lot of people have to work at it because that
Yeah.
is just not their natural state. but
Yeah,
it does make a difference. Whether you have to work at it or not, it makes a huge difference if you just check in periodically.
yeah.
My youngest son, his primary care physician, woman was wonderful. She was an older pediatrician and only worked part-time in the office, but she
Mm,
would literally pick up the phone and call me out of the blue just because I'm thinking about you and your family. How are you all doing?
so sweet. Yeah.
And she would just check in on us because, she knew Terry, she knew his genetic condition and everything, and she's like,
Hmm.
just thinking about you all. How are you doing today? Want to know how he is, want to know how you are, want to know how the husband is, how the other two kids, you know,
Hmm.
just checking on the family. Do you
Wow.
think that we ever wanted to see another pediatrician? Ever?
No. Yeah, why would you? Yeah. Who else is going to treat you like that?
No,
No.
nobody. Nobody else was going to treat us the way that she did. It was phenomenal. She cared,
Yeah.
legitimately cared.
That's all. Yeah, that's all it is. My Professor Ganya, um, it's hard not to get emotional sometimes, but I can't put into words how much this man changed the entire trajectory of my life from a services marketing class that I haven't even sat in like 15 years. I mean, my God, I have to show you this. You'll appreciate this. I'm kind of a sentimental person. I never thought of myself as a sentimental person until like a few years ago after we had my son. Um, and then I guess I had to face myself in the mirror that this is really who I am. So you see here, it's a service bell.
Yes.
And I have this on my desk because Professor Gagne used to have a service because he worked in the hotel industry, hospitality industry. And he used to have one on his desk for symbolism, nostalgia, but also to drive home a point. When a student would challenge him on something and make him think differently, or make him realize that maybe there is a different way to look at something or a better way to look at something. Maybe he was actually wrong, right? Um, or challenged him on an exam question, said something profound that got the other students to engage more, got everybody a small win or a boost of confidence, something like that, some magical moment like that. He would ring the bell, and it was a silly thing in the beginning. I was like, what the hell is this? Like, who cares about this silly bell, But I realized very quickly as I learned more about the brain and our reticular activating system, there was a method to that madness. He was programming us to yearn for that bell. You wanted to be the student that said something profound. You wanted people to know you were smart, that you were paying attention, that you were locked in, that you were one of the people in that class that were adding value to the classroom, that you proved him wrong. You
Mhm.
actually had the guts to challenge him. That was everyone's way to acknowledge that they're lucky that someone like you was in the room with them. They're lucky to have a classmate like you. How fortunate they are that someone like you decided to take the class. You wanted that feeling. You chased after that feeling. And after all these years, I realized I'm still chasing after that feeling. And I, I realized I never want that feeling to go away. So want my I want my clients to feel that way too. And when something magical happens in my business, or I help them achieve a tremendous result, that we can all be proud of, I ring that bell just as much for them as I do for myself. That's what he was all about. That's what he was trying to teach us. So most of the things that he taught
Celebration.
me, yeah, it's a celebration of you
Yeah.
working hard and thinking outside the box and being courageous and being
Yeah.
okay with taking risks and making some mistakes as long as you're willing to learn from those mistakes and helping people, caring about them. treating them better than most other people have probably treated them, right?
Yeah.
Um, Especially in a professional setting or a business type of setting or a mentorship type of setting. That's what it's about. It's not just a silly little service desk bell, that people have at their hotel, right? When you walk in the hotel room, that you ring to go get someone from the front desk to come and acknowledge you. No, it's a lot more than that. You turn that thing into the bell into like a pinnacle or a focal point of my whole life. And yeah, but that's what it's all about. Making people see their full potential, and challenging them on it so they can actually reach that potential. 'Cause it's not easy to do. I'm still far from it. I still have so much I need to learn and work at. But I know I'm a lot better off today than I was when I first signed up for his course. When I first had that classroom.
Well,
Um,
that's the thing. We're all learning every day. And, the hope is that you never stop learning. Um,
sure,
but, I find it so sad, those people who are like, I'm out of school and I never want to crack a book again. Um, I'm like,
sure. I don't get that, but okay, yeah,
I don't understand it either, because my philosophy is no, every day you need to be learning something new, because every day there's something new and exciting to be exposed to. Um, you know, Even if it is only the fact that I discovered today that opossums actually have a hand that looks like a human's, um, and that really freaked me out.
wild, right? Yeah. I learned that recently as well. My God.
Um, but yeah, my husband goes, "No, you have to look at it. It's a really looks like a human hand," and I did, and I
The
was like,
human
"Oh,
hand.
wow, that is really a human hand on a possum." Uh,
Sure. Yeah.
but it was something I didn't know yesterday.
Yeah.
So it's a new thing today, and
Mhm.
tomorrow, who knows what I'll learn.
Yeah.
Um, Currently, I'm learning about webhooks and how to make my website connect to my CRM, the way that I want it to. Uh,
Important. Yeah. Important to know. And that's the thing, right? So that is one of the countless things that I love so much about entrepreneurship is that it challenges you, especially in the early days of you owning your business or businesses, plural, um, to learn constantly. Every day I have to learn more and more. Not I have to, I want to. I want to learn more and more about people, human psychology, buyer behavior, communication, so I can improve the way I communicate with people. Um, Verbal pacing, which I'm doing right now to drive my point home. Being thoughtful with our words, being conscientious of our body language and our facial expressions, our micro expressions that we're expressing, whether we realize it or not. I'm
mhm.
really big on that. I pay attention to that. That's for my sales training. And I have to learn so much. And I want to. Learning about website, the power of a website and lead generation. I'm always trying to learn new things about that. And sales. I've been in sales for almost 2 decades. I still have so much to learn because the game is always changing. The world around me is
It really
always
is.
changing.
And now
It's
with the
evolving.
addition of AI into things,
Bingo. Bingo.
it is changing everything at lightning speed.
Yeah. And now I'm learning over the past few months, I've been trying to learn more about AI, Chat GPT, some of these other AI tools and software programs and things that we didn't have early in my career.
Oh
Didn't
no.
know the first thing about it. Now I'm trying to educate myself so I know how to use these tools for my benefit and my clients' benefit,
One
right?
of my clients actually has been bringing in AI into their practice, because they run a um, urgent care center, and they brought
Mm,
it into their urgent care center so that way they could utilize it to help cut down on the time it took to do a comprehensive diagnosis. I know
there you go.
we've been talking about they need more time, but they're trying to utilize it as a way of getting to the answer faster, so that way they have more time to actually engage the patient,
There you go.
and that way they can get a better result instead of trying to just pull it out of their head, because
Yeah.
let's be honest, I don't know how they remember everything they do anyhow.
Yeah, sure. Well,
So
and you have to think, uh, it's a human being.
yes,
On the flip side, okay, it's a robot. Robots make mistakes too. So do people. But together, maybe we can cut down on the margin of error, on the level of mistakes that we make, on, hey, this person didn't get a good night's rest, or they've got some stuff going on in their personal life that's eating away at some of their bandwidth, whether they realize it or not. Maybe their decision making isn't going to be spot on in this very moment. Maybe this robot can help. Maybe this program can help. Maybe this AI tool can help, and vice versa.
well,
When
that's
the A,
the whole
when the
point.
AI is a little off, maybe the person can step in and say, look, I've seen this 1,000 times before. I know what's going on here. I can step in and use my critical thinking to figure this out. We're good here.
Yeah,
We'll use this tool for the next patient. It's fine. You know, it needs to be a team effort. But I think the
and
biggest thing with on,
that's
oh,
the
go ahead.
thing that I really do feel is that we need to be utilizing AI as a member of the team.
An assistant. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's not to replace, it's to enhance
Yeah.
and to support.
Yeah. I think every, as far as I know, every single one of us out there only has 24 hours in a day. That's it. And
Yeah.
so, if there is a way, any way, where I can get some sort of competitive advantage, some sort of way to maximize my time and the level of productivity that I'm able to squeeze out of my day, I am going to do it. Why wouldn't I?
Well, exactly. And
If I can,
I will be very honest. I use Chat GPT and I love it because it allows me to, go through, organize my thoughts much better. It allows me to
same.
organize, documents that I'm writing. It allows
Yeah.
me to actually, put things into sequences, helps me develop my SOPs. It helps me
Yep.
so much of that stuff
Yep.
that I would otherwise take 10 times as much time
Of
to do.
course. You would never sleep if you had to do all this stuff yourself manually.
And I can sit there and I can read through what it gives me. And because I have 20 years experience at what I do, I can go, okay, yep, that's what it's supposed to be. Yes, 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 yes. And if it gives me something it shouldn't, I can go, no, that's wrong. And we can
You
fix
can
it.
edit it. Yeah.
But, I wouldn't trust it blindly. And I don't think anyone
Same.
should.
Same. Yeah.
But when you have that expertise behind you, then absolutely use it because you already know the information. So why not? Why not take something else and let it, you know, do the heavy lifting for you?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think you'd have to be kind of silly not to use AI tools and technology, in your business if you own your own business, because again, it just makes things so much easier. You can be more efficient with your time. If you're a one man show, which I pretty much am here, my time it's incredibly valuable, right? And I got to make sure my clients are getting served at the highest level. I got to make sure I'm well rested. I got to make sure I'm, a solid dad and a present husband, and being a complete person. I got to make sure like I'm exercising, taking care of myself, and I'm not just feeding my body with junk, because that's going to translate into poor decision making, terrible work outputs, because I'm not going to be feeling good. I'm not going to be healthy. I'm going to be sick a lot more. So every aspect of my life, my personal life, does start trickling into my professional life too. So
Mhm.
if these AI tools can help me just stay sharp, right, and manage the stress, manage the workload, and do things at a faster clip while also being super efficient, I'm going to do that. So yeah, highly encourage anyone to learn more about prompt engineering, chat GPT, Gemini, Bard, all these other tools. Pick one at a time is my suggestion. Otherwise it can be really overwhelming or feel overwhelming,
Yeah,
and then go from there.
right now I've got Chat GPT and I have named it Ted.
Nice. Nice.
So I just go in and go, hey, Ted, I need this. And Ted is very nice and never in a bad mood.
Yep, he just does the work you tell him to do, inputs and outputs.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I love that. Yeah, this is oh my gosh, this is so great.
Well, is there anything that you'd like to leave the listeners with today? Anything particular?
Yeah, absolutely. So if there's anyone out there that feels like they could, use some help with their online storytelling, their some of their branding, copywriting type of things, ghostwriting, anything like that, even their sales strategy, right? Organic lead generation, how they're taking care of their patients, growing their book of business. Happy to speak with them further if they want to reach out to me. My website is super simple. It's Brian Kurian's businessservices.com. BrianKurians businessservices.com. Look me up. I'm also on Facebook, Brian Kurian. I'm on LinkedIn. It's just, my name if you search for me. And I'm happy to pass that info along to you as well, Alice. So you can share it with anyone that requests it.
Absolutely. I'll make sure everything goes into the description for the podcast, and it'll be on the website as well. So everyone will
Wonderful. Wonderful. Yeah, happy to serve. I'm very, very passionate about health and wellness. And I think currently there are some very significant gaps that exist in the health and wellness industry regarding how these practices are expected to perform so that they can be financially successful or keep the lights on, so to speak, compared to the level of care that their patients actually need. And there are significant gaps in how they're able to take care of these human beings. That doesn't hurt them financially. It doesn't make any sense to me, but I know these are the problems that we're facing. And I would genuinely love to put on my hard hat and deploy my skills so that we can fill those gaps and solve those challenges, because they are very dire. They do exist. They have affected me personally as well. Obviously I know they've affected you and your family. I just think we need to do better.
And I think that's the reason this exists.
Yeah.
Is because, we do need to do better. And the health and wellness community is doing what it can, which is trying to help us with our health.
Yeah.
But they are not business, marketers. They're not branding people. That's not what they went to school for. So that is the reason that we're talking today, is because they need the help doing what we do. And everyone needs the help with what they do, because we can't take care of our health alone. So
Yeah. Well, and it just kind of goes to show that we all need each other, right?
absolutely.
Just because I don't know the first thing about being a successful chiropractor, how to give adjustments or help people in that way, doesn't mean I can't help a chiropractor be successful
Exactly.
with my sales experience, copywriting experience, my business consulting, all of that, and vice versa. If it wasn't for him going to school and getting certified and being so amazing at what he does, I wouldn't be able to help him. He wouldn't be doing what he's doing, right? So without him, there is no me. Without me, there is no him.
I can speak honestly, without my chiropractor, I'd still be in back pain. So
Yeah, my wife's about to start seeing one. She has a chiropractic appointment here with the local chiropractor later today. That's why it was fresh on my mind. And she said she's going to go a few times. If she starts feeling better with some of the back pain and stuff that she's been dealing with, then I'm going to start visiting them too. I've never seen a chiropractor before, so it'll be the first time. So, I'm going to use her as the test subject, so to speak, the guinea pig, so to speak.
Well, I've had some really good experience, and I've had some not so good experience. It's like everything else. You just you find the one that you like. You find the one that listens to you. You find the one who helps, and that's who you stick with.
Yep, agreed. Well, thank you, Alice, so much for your time today. I know we went a little bit over, but I really love this. Thank you.
I'm just so thankful that you agreed to come on here and talk to me about this, and I will talk to you again soon. And to everybody else out there who's listening, thank you so much, and we'll be back again next month. All right. Have a great.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Special thanks to our guest, Brian Kurian. Be sure to follow him on LinkedIn at Brian-Kurian-844-85384. You'll find all of his contact information below in the show notes. Thank you for listening. This was Branding RX, your prescription for health and wellness branding. For more information about our podcast, visit us at branding-rx.com.